everybody, what's going on? Thanks for watching our channel. I really appreciate you. I appreciate you subscribing to the channel. We're getting really close to 20,000 subscribers, and if and when we get over 20,000 subscribers, I will do another live Q&A on this YouTube channel where you can ask me questions about your teams and your lineups and whatever else live. So please do hit that subscribe button, and we really do appreciate it. I'm excited because today I'm going to talk about one of my favorite players, and I get a chance to be a little bit more into him, I guess, this week because Keenan Allen is coming off of a terrific week against Seattle. Still not a ton of touchdowns. In fact, only one. But I have hopes that more are coming. I want you to trade for Keenan Allen. He is great. I love him. Let's talk about why. I mean, it's been kind of a frustrating season. These are Allen's past 5 games. And the target totals are great, and the yardage is really consistent. But where, oh where, are those touchdowns? After all, I've been telling you week after week on the podcast that I would trade a lot to get Keenan Allen. And he's been near my top 10 receivers in my rest of the season ranks on harrisfootball.com all year, and yet he just hasn't scored like it. Last week was his first 100-yard game since week 1. I think it might have been the 20th of his career, though. And yet still no touchdowns last week. Maybe still he's a buy opportunity. Let's take a look at why the touchdowns will be coming. We'll start with this play. Allen is the flanker here, bottom of your screen, and this will be a double move down the field. Safety plays it poorly. He doesn't stay deep as the deepest. But, simply put my reasoning behind loving Allen in the second half of the season. It's that he's the best route runner in the NFL, and much of what I'm going to show you today will be an effort to explain why I think that's so. So if we go back a moment where Allen makes his move, watch his body sell the out, and watch how he explodes out of the break the instant the corner turns to allow the possibility that Allen might run the out. Bad defense by the safety, but Allen is gone. Hey, we're sponsored today by the makers of my new toothbrush. This is my Quip. I can strongly recommend it myself. It is the Tesla of toothbrushes. And the main reason it works. It's great. Push the button. It's vibrating. Can you hear that? It's great. I love it. But the reason it's cool and innovative is that this is it. This is the little case that it sits on, and this is the toothbrush. There's no charger. So my bathroom has no electric plug-in charger thing in the way. It's rather brilliant. Basically, the brush head is replaced every 3 months. They send you a new brush head, and it's got the charger in it. So this is literally your entire electric toothbrush. It is absolutely great. It's kind of life-changing. I love not having the charger on my sink, and you can get yours if you go to getquip.com/harrisvideo. If you add the /harrisvideo on there, they will actually give you your first recharge, your first brush head for free. We really thank Quip for sponsoring. This really is my toothbrush. I love it. Let's get back to the show. Back at it with Keenan Allen's route running chops. He's lined up in the slot here, and there's nothing fancy about this. It's an in-breaking route against Seattle's traditional single high safety man concept. But I just want you to see the sharpness of the break. Not all receivers run every in-cutting route like this. And you can also just see how far number 26 there, Shaquille Griffin, is playing off of him. With a cut like that, Allen is getting open even against tight coverage. Against that coverage, wide open. This is the first play of the second half, and it is simply nasty. Allen again is in the slot. I want you to watch what happens to poor number 28 here, Tevin Coleman, because it's not humane. Allen does 3 things here. He sells the sideline fly. I'm going to run up the sideline. Then, for a couple of steps, he sells the post. He makes Coleman think he's going to turn the route straight upfield toward the center of the field. And then finally, he turns it back and cuts off the route and runs the out. And poor Tevin Coleman, who we seem to pick on a lot here on the show, falls over because the footwork is so darn precise. To pull this off, to put your feet in such a way that you can be running full speed and still land exactly where you want to go with that kind of precision, and so that the quarterback knows where to throw it, that is something else. Okay, this is Allen's only touchdown this year, and I present a different aspect of his route running. Here he goes in motion, and what you'll see is right at the snap, he times his jab step so that the defensive back practically jumps out of his skin. If we slow it down and watch what happens there when number 22, Orlando Scandrick, gets close, it's a drifting step by Allen to the outside, and then bam, explodes into full stride, and within a yard or two, he's open by 5 yards. It's not a great play at the line by Scandrick, but it's a great way for a receiver to win early. I could do this all day. Also from the Chiefs game, here he's stacked behind Mike Williams, and all you have to do is watch what happens to the defensive back trying to stay with him. Allen is just so impossibly deceptive. It's kind of designed to be a pick route, but Allen doesn't need the pick. He just runs in, he slams back out, the defensive back falls down without being touched. Just incredible quickness. How about this one? Lined up right slot, Adoree Jackson playing up tight, and at the snap, Jackson would love to get a bump. He swings at Allen. Allen makes him look stupid, a complete whiff, and Allen is wide open in the middle of the field. Did I mention I could do this all day? Last one, he's lined up slot right. He jab steps toward the middle of the field. The DB is immediately back on his heels because he can't account for the cut back to the outside, and it's too late. Allen has a step. He then cuts it to the outside, got all the room in the world, and it's an easy pitch and catch. We can't account for touchdowns, not when it comes to receivers. The Chargers have just hit some big plays. Tyrell Williams kept making long touchdowns. Mike Williams had a couple earlier in the season, and that's just ended drives before Allen could be the one to take advantage. And there are other good route runners in the league for sure. I mean, I could list 5 or 6 other great route runners who are in Allen's league. He's my favorite. And I just don't see a reason why touchdowns wouldn't come the way they did in the second half last year as well. I know it was a good yardage game last week, but he still didn't score a touchdown. I still think there's a chance you could trade for Keenan Allen. All right, and so I wanted to also do an update on someone who I've done a little film work on this channel earlier this season, who had a huge Sunday. Tevin Coleman, the Falcons running back, running against Washington. Let's take a look. This play will be a pitch out to the left, and I want you to appreciate how fast Tevin Coleman gets going here. Do you see the difference compared to how other backs do it? Turn it upfield, and somehow each stride is churning up more ground than seems possible. The top end speed is good, but the speed at which he gets going, I don't think it takes a genius to see that that's fast. But just for comparison, let me show you a similar Peyton Barber play. Also a pitch out to the other side. Hit it. I want to tell him to hit the Jets. I want to tell him to get through what's pretty clearly a fairly good-sized crease there, but Barber just doesn't move like Tevin Coleman does. He doesn't move like that. He winds up exactly where the tacklers expect him to be. And this was my favorite run of his from Sunday. It was called back by penalty, but we're going to linger on it a little bit because I think it shows the absolute best that Coleman can be. If he looked like this on every play, he'd be a superstar. You get the initial evasive jump cut. He lands and sees another defender in front of him, admittedly being held, and dream shakes when he sticks the landing from the first cut and bounces it outside. Now, this is the kind of thing when we see it from Le'Veon Bell and Joe Mixon, we go crazy. Accelerate out to the right, get up the field, veer to avoid the tackle as long as possible. Would have been 25 yards that Coleman basically made by himself, except for, of course, for the hold. It's just one of my favorite runs that I've seen in the past month. So why isn't Coleman one of our favorite backs in the league? I mean, we've been through this a little bit on this channel. It's not just a mental error like this on a drop in the flat. It's that when he's not outrunning somebody, Coleman is often doing this, kind of stringing plays along, hoping to hit the home run, never really turning it up. It's sort of feast or famine by style, by design. I think it's clearly gotten under the Falcons' skin at times this year and in his career. Like, this is a power play with a fullback, and the fullback makes a hole. And no, this isn't going to be a big gainer, but hit it up in there and be physical. Now, there's no reason to try and make a cut as you approach this hole. Actually wind up sliding and falling down. But make something. This is a 1st and 10 play. Hit it. But listen, I think we understand what the upside is. We just saw it. You know, the best player Coleman is that utility dude in space. Catching a screen like he did on Sunday, seeing the entire Washington defense in front of him, but having enough room to gather himself and really see it, and then he's a freaking menace. And that's pretty good speed at 6'1", 210. And that's why, for fantasy, in any given week, you know you're getting a very high ceiling with Tevin Coleman. I wish we always saw the running back in Tevin Coleman that we saw in that one play that was called back by holding, but often we don't. He's very fast. He doesn't really play like he's a big guy, and he is sort of a bigger, he's not a giant back, but he's on the bigger side. Doesn't always play like it, and has seemed in his time in Atlanta to sometimes be reduced to that in-space, pass-catching, almost gadget-type player. Now, someone is going to make Tevin Coleman a very wealthy young man this offseason. He's a free agent. Someone's going to sign him to a big deal. I have a tendency to think it's not going to be the Falcons, because I think they've been frustrated with him at times. And I frankly don't think that's going to go all that well. Can't say where he lands. I imagine that he's going to be somebody's feature back, and I suspect that we could wind up being frustrated with him. But for the rest of this year, we're going to be frustrated with him a little bit. There are going to be peaks and valleys. My point is, this past week, clearly a peak, and you are going to get some serious ceiling out of him in any given week, but realize that there is the floor. He's done it before. 7 carries, 17 yards. He can be a frustrating guy to own as well.
Thanks so much for watching. Please, please, please smash that like button, write a comment, tell us who else you'd like to see us review film on, and of course, best of all, please subscribe to our channel and then click that little bell above the subscribe button and you'll be notified whenever we post a new video.